Ever felt like your mind is just a runaway train?
Oh, definitely.
Like an endless loop of what ifs, worries, replaying things, even when everything around you is actually okay.
Yeah, it's like your own thoughts are kind of holding you hostage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what if? What if the biggest source of your suffering isn't really life throwing curveballs at you?
Uh-huh.
What if it's your thoughts about those curveballs?
That's a powerful idea, isn't it? And what's really fascinating is how often we, wear ourselves out trying to change everything out there.
Right, the external stuff.
When the real leverage maybe. It might be an internal shift.
Okay.
So this deep dive is really about exploring that hidden power, the power inside your own mind.
And we're not just like scratching the surface here. We're properly diving into Joseph Nguyen's book, Don't Believe Everything You Think.
Very compelling title.
It is. And we're using a great summary from thebookinsight.com to guide us.
But we also wanted to bring in other voices, right?
Exactly. We want to hear from real readers. So we've tapped into some pretty candid discussions over on Reddit.
Ah, the Indian books community.
That's the one. A real mix of perspectives there.
So our mission today is basically to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
Give you the most kind of profound insights from these different sources and offer, hopefully, a practical roadmap to a bit more inner peace.
We really want to challenge your mind's assumptions, maybe spark some of those aha moments.
Those little shifts in perspective that can actually change how you see your world.
Definitely. So to really get into this, we kind of have to start with Joseph Nguyen's big idea, which draws on some ancient wisdom.
The two arrows.
Exactly, the metaphor of the two arrows. Imagine this. The first arrow. That's the unavoidable pain life throws at us sometimes.
Like losing a job or heartbreak or even physical pain.
Right, that initial hit. It happens. It's kind of inevitable. But here's where it gets really interesting and maybe transformative. The second arrow. That's all the extra emotional and psychological pain we create ourselves.
Ah, so it's the resistance, the overthinking.
Yeah, the dwelling on it, the stories we tell ourselves about that first arrow event.
That is such a critical distinction because, like you said, we can't always dodge that first arrow.
Nope. Life happens.
But we absolutely have, immense control over that second one. Joseph Nguyen apparently realized this himself through his own struggles.
Yeah, he found that just trying to suppress pain didn't work. It just kind of came back stronger.
Right. So the real insight becomes suffering isn't usually the event itself.
It's our attachment.
Exactly. Our attachment to the thoughts we have about the event.
So think about losing that job again. The first arrow is just the job is gone.
Fact.
But the second arrow is that whole mental spiral, right?
Yeah.
I'm a failure. What will people think? I'll never get another job.
And that internal narrative, that second arrow, often creates way more distress than the actual circumstance ever did.
It's like the world didn't say you're a failure. You told yourself that.
Yeah.
That's a game changer when you really get it.
It really is. And actually, you mentioned Reddit. Some users there specifically highlighted how profound that two arrows concept was for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it apparently helped them immediately start distinguishing between, what's actually happening.
The facts.
And what they're making it mean, the story.
That makes total sense. That's where the real freedom starts, isn't it?
That's exactly it. True inner freedom lies right there in understanding we have agency over how we react and interpret things.
Okay, so if we're the ones kind of firing this second arrow of suffering at ourselves, what's going on in our brains? Why are we so prone to this constant mental chatter? Is there like an evolutionary reason?
Oh, absolutely. It goes way back. Our brains are fundamentally hardwired for survival.
The caveman brain.
Pretty much. It was crucial for early humans. Constantly scanning the environment for threats, a tiger lurking, a rival tribe approaching.
Ranger detection mode.
Exactly. Our minds are built to identify potential danger and keep us safe. It's a very deep, primitive instinct.
But, okay, fast forward to modern life. We might not have actual tigers in the bushes. Usually.
Definitely not.
But our minds still react with that same level of fear and caution, but to things that aren't physical threats.
Precisely. Think about getting ready for a job interview or public speaking. Your heart pounds, you sweat.
Or even just hearing screeching tires nearby. Instant alert mode.
Yeah, even if there's no actual immediate physical danger, your brain shifts into high alert. That's your old survival instinct kicking in, projecting danger onto situations that aren't life or death.
So that instinct, which was super helpful way back when.
Essential, even.
And now it often just creates, overthinking. and a whole lot of unnecessary stress in our daily lives.
And that's the challenge, isn't it? Is our mind's old programming reacting to completely new modern situations?
So the big question for you, the listener, becomes, how do you start telling the difference?
Mm-hmm. How do you distinguish between a genuine immediate threat that needs action
Right.
and your mind's outdated alarm system, just, ringing bells for no real reason, causing all that worry?
This distinction, it leads us nicely into another idea from Nguyen. It's subtle, but really powerful.
Oh,
It's the difference between what he calls a pure idea and the thoughts we attach to it.
a pure idea. Like what?
Like really simple, neutral, often comes when you're calm. Someone asks, what fruit do you like? You think apple. Boom, clean thought.
Okay, simple enough. But then what happens?
Well, then your mind might start playing with it, right?
Yeah.
It imagines the apple. Maybe you realize you don't have one.
Uh-oh.
And suddenly, that simple idea triggers other thoughts. I really wish I had that apple now. Why don't I ever have the things I want?
Ah, I see. So it shifts from just an idea apple to an emotional craving, maybe frustration.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the shift. From a pure idea to this emotional thought chain or, a thought spiral.
Nguyen compares our awareness to like a mental radar, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great analogy. The moment you catch yourself reacting emotionally to a thought, instead of just observing it, that's your radar pinging. It's a clear signal you're getting pulled into that thought spiral.
And that pause, that moment of just noticing, that's your chance.
Your opportunity to kind of disengage,
Right.
To step back from the story your mind is spinning.
And, connecting back to the Reddit discussion, one user, phrase generator, brought up a really good nuance here.
Oh, yeah? What was that?
They pointed out that Nguyen often says something like, you can only feel negative emotions when you're thinking.
Okay.
And this user rightly observed, well, hang on, you can definitely fantasize about something great and feel positive emotions from thinking.
That's true. You could daydream and feel happy.
Exactly. So the deeper insight might be more focused.
Yeah.
If you're experiencing negative feelings, it's highly likely that it's stemming directly from your thinking in that moment.
Ah, okay. So it's less about all feeling coming from thought and more about negative feeling being strongly tied to thought spirals.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that shift from just observing or maybe positive envisioning to getting entangled in negative emotional thinking.
Great. That clarification helps. So as we're sort of digging into how the mind works, we come across this really fascinating framework, the 3 principles. Nguyen talks about these as the building blocks of our whole experience.
Yes, he draws on the work of Sydney Banks here. These principles are described as omnipresent forces, always active within us.
Okay, so what are they?
First, there's mind. And importantly, this isn't your personal brain or intellect.
Not the thinking bit.
No, it's more like this. Universal, intelligent energy behind everything. Think of it as the silent operating system of life itself.
Like what keeps my heart beating without me thinking about it.
Exactly, or how your body heals, how plants grow. All that happens without conscious effort. It's the underlying source energy.
Okay, mind. What's next?
Second is consciousness. This is your awareness, your ability to experience life.
So seeing, hearing, feeling.
Yes. It allows you to feel emotions, use your senses, just be aware that you're alive and experiencing something. Consciousness is what brings thoughts and the world to life for you.
Got it. Mind, consciousness,
Right.
and the third.
The third is thought. And this is seen as the creative power. It's the tool, the very lens through which we construct our moment-to-moment reality.
So we don't experience the world directly.
According to this model, no. We experience our thinking about the world. Every feeling, every perception is filtered through or created by thought.
Wow. Okay. That's
No,
a big one.
it is. The really profound insight here is your entire experience of life, from joy to sorrow, is created moment by moment.
Not by what happens.
But by the thoughts you have about what happens, brought to life by consciousness, all happening within the energy of mind. And that interaction is where your power lies.
So how does this play out, like in a real-world example? What does this mean for your daily experience listening right now?
Okay, think about that classic example. 2 people stuck in the exact same traffic jam.
Ugh, traffic now, okay.
Person A is fuming, right? Angry, frustrated, maybe honking the horn, blood pressure rising.
Been there.
Person B in the car right next to them, same situation. Maybe they're calmly listening to music, tapping their fingers, maybe even singing along, totally relaxed.
Right. The external event, the traffic is identical.
Identical, but their thoughts about the traffic, this is ruining my day, versus, oh well, chance to listen to this album, create entirely different emotional realities.
So your experience isn't dictated by the circumstance itself.
It's dictated by the internal movie reel, the story your thoughts are playing about that circumstance.
Understanding that often leads people to the next logical question, right?
Yeah.
Which is,
Okay, if thinking causes suffering, can I just stop thinking?
yeah, can we just switch it off?
Joseph Nguyen's answer is pretty clear on this. Not really, not entirely. Thoughts are just a natural part of being human. They arise.
Trying to forcefully stop them doesn't work.
He argues it's like trying to calm a rippling pool of water by splashing it around frantically. Okay. The more you fight it, the more ripples you create.
Exactly. The struggle itself creates more mental noise.
That makes so much sense. So if fighting thoughts is counterproductive, what's the alternative? How do we find that quiet space, that peace?
The alternative path he suggests is detachment and cultivating present awareness.
Not fighting, but observing.
Observing, allowing thoughts to come and go without lashing onto them. And this is where we can sometimes enter what people call a zero thought state, or more commonly, flow.
The flow state. I know that feeling.
Yeah. Those moments of deep immersion where thinking just seems to disappear. You're completely absorbed.
Like when you're playing a sport you love, or creating art, or dancing.
Or even deeply focused on a work task you enjoy. In those moments, you're not lost in thoughts about yesterday or worries about tomorrow.
You're just there, fully engaged.
Right. Think of an artist sketching for hours, totally losing track of time, maybe even forgetting to eat.
They're not thinking about life, they're just being in it, doing the thing.
Exactly. That's the state Nguyen points to. So it's almost like happiness isn't something we have to achieve or build. It's more like something we return to naturally, when all that mental chatter, the unnecessary thinking, settles down.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's not about adding something, but letting go of the noise, shifting focus from being lost in thinking to just being present.
Okay, but then the practical mind kicks in, right? A common concern people might have is,
If I think less, will I lose my ambition, my drive? What about my goals?
yeah, exactly. Will I just become passive?
It's a valid question. Nguyen addresses this by clarifying that it's not that goals disappear entirely, it's more that their source might change, becoming purer.
Okay, how so?
He distinguishes between two kinds of goals. First, you have what you might call fear-based goals.
Driven by insecurity.
Often, yeah, arising from insecurity or a desire to escape pain or needing to prove your worth to others.
Like wanting to be a billionaire just to escape a stressful job, maybe? Or to show people you made it?
Exactly. And the thing is, even if you achieve that kind of goal, it might not actually bring the peace you were seeking if the underlying fear or insecurity hasn't been addressed.
Okay, so that's fear-based. What's the other kind?
The other kind are love-based goals, or what Nguyen calls inspiration. These feel different.
How so?
They tend to come more naturally, maybe feel effortless. They arise from a place of genuine joy or interest. They just kind of light you up inside.
So you pursue them not for external validation like fame or money.
Right. Or even approval. You do it simply because you love the process, the act of creation itself.
Like someone who sketches constantly or dances or sings just because it brings them joy, even if no one else ever sees or hears it.
Precisely. And Joseph Nguyen has this really powerful thought experiment to help you tap into that, he asks.
Okay.
If you had all the money in the world, all the security you could ever need, and no one would ever praise you or even know about your work, what would you still want to create or do?
Wow. That cuts through a lot of the noise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What would you do just for the love of doing it?
Yeah. It helps us reconnect with what he calls unconditional love and creation. These states, he suggests, naturally emerge when the mind quiets down.
So, peace, security, joy. They aren't things we need to chase after.
His perspective is that they are states of being we already possess underneath the layers of thought. They reveal themselves when the thinking settles.
That connects to the bigger picture then.
Right?
Maybe striving isn't always about attaining something external.
Maybe it's more about expressing who you already are from that place of genuine intrinsic joy.
This whole idea that our thoughts shape our reality, it also leads to another, sometimes tricky concept.
Which is?
The idea that nothing is inherently good or bad, that it's our thoughts, our judgments that assign that meaning. I noticed on Reddit some people really struggled with that part.
Yeah, that can sound very relativistic, can it? Like denying objective harm or good.
Right. What's the nuance there, according to Nguyen?
Well, it seems less about denying objective reality exists and more about recognizing that our personal experience of that reality is subjective, filtered through thought. He talks about finding an omniscient truth.
Omniscient truth. What does that mean?
It's like a deeper, more universal understanding that can emerge when we manage to quiet our own personal judgments, biases, and opinions.
So tapping into something beyond just my own viewpoint.
Exactly. A wisdom that sees the bigger picture beyond what seems right or wrong for just one person in one moment. When we drop those rigid judgments, he suggests, we start to experience things like love without conditions, peace without needing a logical reason for it, joy without justification.
And that seems to tie directly into trusting your inner intelligence, doesn't it? Over always looking for external advice or validation.
Oh, absolutely. How often do we have that feeling later? Ugh, why didn't I just trust my gut on that?
All the time. Those moments sting.
Joseph Nguyen really emphasizes this. The answers you're constantly searching for out there, they're already within you.
You don't need endless self-help books or gurus.
Not necessarily. Your intuition, that deep inner knowing, is already there. But the key is, it usually arises only in the present moment.
Not from frantic analyzing or overthinking?
No, it's often quieter, more subtle, gentle, but trustworthy. Think about Einstein, right? The stories say when he was stuck on a really complex physics problem.
He'd play his violin.
Yeah. He'd relax, shift his state, allow the solution to just emerge effortlessly in that more present, less forced state. That's the kind of power we're talking about when we say trust your inner wisdom.
Okay, so accessing that inner wisdom requires some mental space. Which brings us to another metaphor Nguyen uses, the overflowing cup.
Ah, yes. If you try to pour fresh coffee into a cup that's already filled to the brim.
It just spills everywhere, right? Nothing new can get in.
Exactly. And he says our minds are often like that cup. If your mental space is constantly overflowing with worries, regrets about the past, fears about the future, endless analysis.
There's just no room.
No room for clarity, for intuition, for those quiet insights, or even what might feel like miracles or synchronicities to enter.
So the key is creating space.
Precisely. Joseph explains it beautifully. Silence is the seed of insight. That zero-thought state, or even just a quieter mind, is the fertile ground where intuitive solutions and fresh perspectives can actually grow.
So breakthroughs often come not from pushing harder, thinking more.
But often from doing less, from allowing, from creating stillness, rather than constantly pushing and striving with the thinking mind.
It does raise that question again, doesn't it? Are we maybe pushing too hard sometimes, when what we really need is to just allow, let things settle?
It's a very different way of operating than most of us are used to.
And Nguyen acknowledges this, right? He says this truth is always simple.
But not always easy.
Exactly. Because our conditioning, our habits have trained us to overthink, to seek control through analysis, maybe even to distrust silence.
So it becomes a practice. Committing to finding moments of stillness, even brief ones, connects you back to that deeper part of yourself, where he argues that love, peace, and joy are already waiting.
It's not a quick fix then.
It definitely seems more like a path, a practice of unlearning and returning.
And, going back to the Reddit comments, it was interesting. Even though some found parts of the book maybe a bit esoteric or philosophical.
Yeah, terms like universe, cosmic energy, karma were mentioned. Some found it vague if they didn't already share those kinds of beliefs.
Right. But despite that, many users found the core message, the link between thinking and suffering, especially anxiety, incredibly direct and helpful.
That simplicity really resonated.
Yeah. One person put it really well, something like, sometimes just silencing my thinking as suffering at least helps alleviate spiraling and feelings of overwhelm.
That's powerful in itself, isn't it? Just stopping the spiral.
Definitely. And it was also interesting, another Reddit user brought up a different book, Rewire Your Anxious Brain, by Catherine Pittman.
Ah, focusing more on the neuroscience.
Exactly. Mentioning it as a more science-backed approach, looking at neuroplasticity and how anxiety works in the brain pathways.
Which is a great point. It highlights that there are often multiple valid pathways to understanding and managing these things.
Yeah, Nguyen's book offers this really powerful, maybe more philosophical or spiritual lens.
While other approaches tackle similar challenges using the language of neuroscience or psychology.
It just shows the value of exploring different perspectives,
Right.
finding what resonates most with you.
Absolutely. And as Joseph Nguyen wraps up his message, he brings it back to a very personal point. He essentially says,
Yeah.
it's not a coincidence that this book, or perhaps this deep dive, found you. The timing might be right for you to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
He reiterates that core idea. Your suffering doesn't truly come from your external circumstances. It comes from believing your thoughts about those circumstances.
That's the only thing standing between you and peace, the belief in a thought.
That's his assertion. The belief itself is the barrier.
And beautiful, maybe empowering part of that is the answers aren't out there somewhere else.
They're within you already. You don't need to keep endlessly searching outside yourself.
The journey isn't about finding something new, but maybe unlearning the lies.
Exactly. Unlearning the limiting beliefs and thoughts we've picked up about ourselves and the world. He emphasizes, you are already whole. You are already free beneath the noise.
But the mind is tricky, right?
Yeah.
Even when you find moments of peace.
Oh, yeah. It can try to pull you back in. It might whisper things like, wait, how can everything feel okay without me stressing? This can't be right. I must be missing something.
The doubt creeps back in. That's the trap.
That's the trap. And overcoming that, and Nguyen suggests, requires leaning into faith and surrender sometimes, more than just relying on rigid logic.
So seeing challenges or failures not as proof that things are wrong.
But maybe just as feedback, as opportunities for growth, seen from that quieter, wiser perspective.
At the end of the day, the power to shift your entire experience of life.
Yeah.
It really lies within your own perception, doesn't it?
It seems that's the core message. It's not about wrestling the world into submission, but shifting how you perceive it from the inside out.
So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We journeyed from understanding those two arrows of suffering
Distinguishing the event from our reaction.
to recognizing the mind's old survival wiring, how it plays out today.
We looked at the difference between pure ideas and those sticky, emotional thought spirals.
Yeah, and the importance of awareness as that radar. We touched on the three principles: mind, consciousness, thought.
How they create our reality moment by moment.
And we talked about getting into that flow state, finding inspiration from a quieter place.
And reevaluating goals, moving from fear to love-based creation.
It really is a profound shift in perspective, starting entirely from within.
It really is. That core insight remains the power to change your experience. It's right there in how you relate to your own thoughts, not primarily in trying to change everything around you.
So, as a takeaway for you listening,
Yeah.
what if today you just try to observe your thoughts?
Just notice them without automatically buying into every single one.
Yeah. See if you can spot that second arrow when it arises, that extra layer of suffering we add.
Yeah.
And maybe just notice it. Allow it to pass without fueling it.
It's an experiment in awareness.
Exactly. Keep exploring these ideas if they resonate. And maybe most importantly, start trusting that inner intelligence, that quieter wisdom within you.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, maybe something to mull over.
Okay.
If your mind truly creates your reality, and if, as Nguyen suggests, you are already whole and free underneath all the noise of thought, what would you choose to create or do next, purely from a place of joy or inspiration, without needing a single thought to justify it or make it seem productive?
Wow. What would emerge from that quieter space? That's definitely something to sit with.